Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, also known as Scraps, and today I want to teach you guys kind of a more gritty growl. The problem with this synth that I've made is that it has a ton of high-end white noise. The reason why I designed it this way is so that way it kind of gives like a old feeling back in the day, to where we, instead of having massive to where you can just subtract things and get a nice growl, we actually had to design a lot of effects around it in order to get it to sound similar. So this is kind of like a old retro synth of the growl. Anyways, I'm gonna show you the demo example that I have for this synth. Unfortunately, something went wrong with the drums and they sound distorted. There's nothing going on with the drums, they just decided to become distorted for no reason, and there's nothing on it, so I have no idea. Anyways, I'll be sure to figure that out later. For now, listen to this demo example and I'll show you guys how to create this sort of like a old school growl, and then I'll show you how to create it without the effects if you don't want that. So take a listen. Okay, so what we want to do is throw on a combinator, because it'll save our CPU quite a bit of, well, a lot of CPU. Anyways, I'm gonna throw in a instrument that I bought called Px7 FM synthesizer, and what this does is that it generates multiple sine waves. You can't change the different frequencies, they're all sine waves. I'm sorry, the different shaper types. Anyways, the first thing that I want to do when I have a Px7 is to get all my different ranges right. So we're going to start here up at the top for number 6, and I want to change this to 7. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my depth to about 66, my curve type all the way to the right, or that should be linear plus, yeah. And my depth at the very end is going to be around 65. For the amount, we're going to take this to like 36 or 38 or 40. I'm going to throw up my decay for the macro all the way while I'm up there. And for our number 5, our 5th oscillator, I'm going to change this to around 3, or actually 2, and I'm going to take the detune. Actually, yep, 3, and I want to take the detune to 72. I'm gonna then throw on the LFO sends all the way. I'm gonna bring the envelope rate for op5 about 54, so that way when it glides in, it will throw in that nice growl. We don't really need to do anything to the other controls for this synth, for this oscillator, so I'm just gonna throw it on to about 82 or 85. 85 sounds good to me. So, anyways, what I'm going to do is, after this, for number 4, I want to set it to my 3rd frequency, and then I'm going to bring it up, the first envelope rate, to about 55. For the rate, I want to take that to 3. I want to set my depth pretty much farther than that, so about 75. I'm going to throw on another curve, this time to negative exponential. For the depth, I'm going to throw that up to 76. And I want to take this, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to, that's my bad. I went down to the 3rd oscillator. So don't mess with the 3rd oscillator just yet. We'll get to that in a second. Take my depth all the way up to like 65. Take that down. For the level of this, I want to take that to about 88. It's going to be pretty high up there. Next, I'm going to go to my third oscillator, take this to 3, push LFO to send, so I'm going to take that up 1 notch. I'm not going to mess with any of the envelopes. And for the curve, I'm going to take the rate up to 2. I want to take my depth all the way to 59. I want to take my curve type, leave that there, BP, there, that's fine. Curve type, just take it up to negative exponential. And the depth needs to be 71. And for the amount, I want to take this to about 68. Now for our second oscillator, this is going to be 2. And it's going to be, 1, and it's going to be 95. We want to take the frequency finite to 95. There we go. Next, I'm going to basically just turn it up to about 80, and that should be good. And for our final one, and the most important oscillator, I want to take this all the way to 11. I'm going to take my R1 all the way up to probably about 45. Much farther than the rest, and the level, and take that back to about 72. Next, I'm going to take my L3, and this is very important. I want to take my L3 to 18. Positive 18. Or 19. That'll work. I'm going to set my speed. I think it's around 80 or 90. 87. I'm going to take my speed of my LFO to 87. I'm going to set LFO to amp all the way. And sine wave is fine. For the optional feedback, I want to take that to 4. And for the algorithm, this is going to be 4 as well. I'm getting a lot of crackles. I'm wondering if that's just my headphones. So if you're not hearing any crackles or anything, that's my bad. Anyways, so now that we have the Px7, I'm just gonna minimize this. What we need to do with the Px7 is that we need to create a unison after this. So I'm gonna go to my Studio Effects, Unison. I'm gonna take my dry wet and my detune all the way to like 15 or 13. I want it to be subtle, but I don't want to take over everything. I'm next going to throw on a envelope controlled filter found in Studio Effects. I want to take my frequency all the way down. I want to turn up my resonance to probably around 59. That's probably too much. 49 will be right. My envelope amount up a bit. And velocity, don't need that there, but I'm going to set this to bandpass instead of low pass. Next, I'm going to basically throw on a pulsar that's found in utilities. I'm going to flip it open by hitting tab, and I want to connect my frequency CV from the controlled filter. I'm going to attach that to LFO1. And for the rate, I'm going to set that to 1/4. And for the level of this, I'm going to set this to 79. And so far we have that basic growl. If you want to tighten up things by giving it a little bit more dynamics and space, I'm going to throw in my Px7 advanced reverb. And what I'm going to do with this is, once this starts going, I'm going to go to my Reason Factory sound bank. I'm going to go in my Px7 advanced reverb. And I'm going to just throw on all treetops. So we don't want that much spaciness in this. So I'm gonna take my dry wet down to probably around 14 and my decay to about 14 as well, or 19. Next, I'm gonna throw on from Creative Effects a pulsar. And I'm gonna squash the signal a bit. And what this allows me to do is that it's going to give me a nice gentle squash. I'm going to set this to high pass. I'm going to take the frequency down to probably about 61.7, or maybe even higher than that, probably 115. The peak, I'm going to take that to 39, no big deal. And for the rotary, I'm going to turn on, for the tremor, I'm going to turn on spread, and I want to take that to 3% for the volume. I'm going to minimize these to save my CPU, quite a chunk of memory. Anyways, next I'm going to throw on my Audiomatic retro transformer. Now you can do this with Scream, or I'll show you both ways. So with the Audiomatic retro transformer, I'm just going to throw it on circuit. And for the transformation, I'm going to take that to 43. I'm going to take my dry wet to 62 and my volume all the way to 8.6. I'm then going to take the gain back to about 7.1. So we have the basic patch. If you don't feel like using Audiomatic retro transformer, ATR. If you don't feel like using ATR, you can always use Scream. That's also found in Creative Effects. I'm gonna just bypass that for now, and I'm gonna set it to digital. I'm gonna take my P1 pretty far up there, so I'm gonna take that to 100. I'm gonna take P2, and I'm also gonna take that to 105. And I'm gonna take the damage back a bit. I'm gonna throw on my cut. I want to take down the lows, the mids, and the highs, but I'm going to play the sound so that way you can hear what I'm doing in real time. So something like that. So for the low, -20, for the mid, 13, and for the high, -9. I'm going to throw in my body. I want to take the resonance back to 79. I'm going to set my scale to 20, and I'm going to set my auto to probably around 1 or 2. 2 should be fine, and I'm going to set it to type E. And that gives us a nice distortion. But what I like to do in order to maintain that distortion is keep the Audiomatic retro transformer. It's a much deeper sound. And by the way, I'm playing in C2, just in case you guys want to know which keys I'm hitting. I'm going to throw on 2 M-class equalizers. And we'll hold down Option and just drag it below it. Switch out the outputs. So I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to take the output of this, plug it in here, into my second M-class. I'm going to take the audio output to my From devices. I want to turn low cut on, P1, P2. And I'm also going to do that for my second equalizer, P1 and P2. So for P1, I'm going to listen to all the different frequencies and kind of subtract them. So I'll throw up my gain and my Q all the way. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sweep through the frequencies and see what sounds bad. So you might want to turn down your speakers for this if you're doing peak removal. So that's all I'm doing, is going through the frequencies and picking them out. Okay, next what I'm going to do is throw on the echo to give it a little bit of more wideness. I'm going to take the time all the way down. I'm going to set this off of sync, and I want to set this to 8 or 16 milliseconds. Either of those sound great. I want to turn up my drive a bit, and that should do it for this synth. So that's pretty much before. This is before and after. So it gives a lot more widening if you're listening to if you have headphones that can pick up those frequencies. Next, I'm gonna go to my studio effects, throw in an M-class maximizer, take it off limiter, put release to auto, turn on soft clip, and set the amount to 127. So that's pretty unique, but that's the synth. And if you don't have Px7, what I'm gonna do is basically just delete that. I'm gonna throw in my Thor, or you can use Subtractor. Subtractor and Thor are pretty great for this synth. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna hit my show programmer on Thor. I'm gonna take my first oscillator to a sine wave. I'm basically gonna take pretty much all. So that's pretty close for just a few minutes in the studio. If you really wanted to, you can add a state variable and a comb filter on a third filter if you really wanted to get more extraneous into the sound. So something like that. So that's how to create the sound in Thor and Px7, and how to create this wonderful growl. I'll see you guys next time for another tutorial. This time we're going to be working on breaks and how to shuffle up the Dr. Octorex, or maybe another synth, or a new tutorial, or something else, you know? So take this knowledge with you and experiment, find some new, and if you like this tutorial, be sure to leave a comment below, because that's the only way I can see that you're actually liking these tutorials, and it helps me to improve my tutorials, and it helps me improve to become a better person. So I hope you guys have a very chill Sunday. The rest of the week is gonna be probably, I don't know, good, whatever. Take care guys, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Peace.